Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Art Podcast with your host, Collin Savala and Braeden Cox. And we are 2 days, less than 48 hours away from opening day 2024. Braeden and I have been giving you our divisional predictions. And today we are doing our last, but not least, but certainly East, the AL East division. Previewing our last AL East division, obviously our Yankees in the AL East division. So Braeden and I are going to give you our predictions right here and in the yard, how this thing is going to play out, over under win totals and everything in between. So stay tuned for our predictions right here and in the yard. Braeden, I think AL East is probably one of the tougher divisions in baseball. Maybe you have the NL West and NL East also, but definitely top three most competitive the AL East is. So it's
Yeah.
going to be tough for our Yanks to stay competitive there with all these injuries, but we'll get right into that also here in the yard. I'm just super excited all around to get baseball back up and running again. And yeah, I got some hot takes. I'm sure Braden has some hot takes for you. So stay tuned. And yeah, Bray. So what are your thoughts? What's your overall feeling? With the AL East in general, and also with the Yankees being in the AL East.
Yeah. So I think you kind of already said it, but this is definitely one of the more competitive divisions. You could argue that there are probably four teams in this division that you pretty comfortably say, like, yeah, that be a playoff team. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You can't really say that about many other divisions. Um, so yeah, definitely on the competitive side there. So it's gonna be tough for our Yanks. Um, had their worst season like record wise since what before we were even born this past season. So I do expect somewhat of a bounce back. But we'll get into whether I think that they can kind of go on a little run and potentially win the AL East.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been doing five, starting with the fifth place team, then working our way up to the one. So Bray,
Yeah.
give me your five team. I feel like this one through five, every position's a toss up, especially with the East. So yeah, give me your five here.
Yeah, so they finished in fifth last year. I'm gonna have them finishing in fifth again. It's the Boston Red Sox, not just because I have such hatred for them. I know you're going to the game in Boston in June or July, whatever that may be. But yeah, I mean, like, what they really do this offseason, we talked about that on
Mhm.
the other episodes for the divisions. Is like I can't really put any teams ahead of them because they haven't done anything to make me think like, hey, like this is a team that can maybe, contend with the other teams in the division that were more competitive last year. So not really even much to say. I'm gonna have the Red Sox fifth. Wins, I don't know exactly how many they had last year, but around 75, 78, some 75 to 80 mark,
I
I
think they
would
had
say.
81. I think they were 81 and 81 last year, or 80,
Yeah, so
82,
probably
something like that.
something similar, maybe a little bit less. There's just not too much going on, but it is somewhat of a championship culture there. They've won a couple World Series in the past decade or so. Um, so they seem to figure it out. But it's not going to be their year again. So I'm gonna have the
Yeah.
the Red Sox finishing fifth.
Yeah, I also have the Red Sox finishing fifth, Brain. I think their pitching is a little bit concerning for me. They have
Yeah,
Devers still, obviously. Um, but I think they're just a little older. I think they're kind of in a rebuilding stage. I don't think they'll be in this
yeah,
rebuilding stage for a lot more seasons to come. I think they have a lot of good guys on the farm, getting ready to get called up soon. So I just don't think this will be the year. I also just think that the division is so competitive. It's going to be
yeah,
tough for them, and they didn't make any of those big splashes. I think a year or two ago they spent a lot of money on Trevor Story. He hasn't really
yeah.
lived up to his contract yet. Um, and like I said before, just the pitching's a little bit worrisome. I just think it's not going to be their year. But ALEs, I feel like anything can happen. They're a good operation over there. They know what they're doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win like 78, 80 games again, somewhere in that range. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna be solid, of course, but I don't see them being as good as the Orioles or the Rays or the Blue Jays or the Yankees. So
Yeah, I mean, they could be a borderline 500 or even better team, but the
mhm.
division is so good. It's like, for one, I wouldn't bet on that. And two, it's just like, you've got four teams that I would say are definitively better right now, not just roster wise, but, historically, the past 3 years, all four of the other teams in the division have seen far more success than the Red Sox. So,
Yeah,
um, I'll put the Red Sox at last.
there you go.
So I'll go into my fourth now. So fourth, they made the playoffs last year. Um, I would say they probably miss it this coming year because like we talked about in the other episodes, like the Dodgers, we think I shouldn't say Dodgers because we're talking about the AL, but like the Astros, the Mariners, right? We're talking about those teams being like more so playoff locks. So my fourth place team is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. Didn't really do many things this offseason that impressed me either. And the way I look at it in this case is like a team's going to have to finish fourth. I have the Red Sox fifth. So who's the next best? Looking at the rosters, I'm going to go the Blue Jays here. You know, it's not even like, again, like I'm not really a fan of the Blue Jays. There's a lot of players in the team I don't really care for. But I think the AL as a whole is pretty stacked. And I think a team is getting left out of the AL East for sure. Um, or not four teams in the AL East are going to make it at least. So I'm going to have the Blue Jays missing, being fourth. As far as wins, they're going to win probably 5, 6 more games than the Red Sox, I'd say. Like they're going to be like pretty comfortably ahead of the Red Sox. But yeah, I'll have the Blue Jays as four.
You don't think Isaiah Falefa could carry them to a playoff berth?
Man, is that enough? I mean, and the big another huge thing with them is like it looked like for like at least a few hours there that Ohtani was going there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of fell apart. I don't know if that was just fake news or what the whole story there was. But yeah, I mean, what did they really do? I mean, they got Joey Votto. I guess that's a veteran presence, but he's going to probably start in the minors. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I
and the
think
Blue Jays had 89 wins last year. I'd probably think they have less this year, but not by a ton.
yeah, I'm also going with the Blue Jays in fourth again. Um, kind of you hit the nail on the head there. And I like their hitting, but it's the same year with them with their pitching and their bullpen.
Yeah,
I don't love. It's just they have Kevin Gallispin, but then who else do they really have besides their ace there? So I think it could be. I think the Blue Jays are really streaky offensively, especially.
this is
But they
true.
didn't make anything like they didn't do anything this offseason to like really help that bullpen out a lot. So I'm just gonna roll with the Blue Jays at fourth also for the
Yeah,
same
there's
reasons that
not
you
really
had.
much to say there. I mean, I think if you land Otani, it's definitely a different conversation. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if Vlad won the home run derby again. And to me, that's their World Series at this point. Like, there's not really much going on there.
Yeah, it's
So I'll
just
take the Blue Jays at four.
yeah. I mean, they're also getting older. Like you would hope you were hoping to see some improvement from Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette the past couple of seasons, but they
Yeah.
kind of have been like that steady, solid
Yeah.
solid pieces. But
Solid, but not, yeah.
yeah, not they haven't lived up to like the potential that they could. But maybe this will be a breakout year for them. So you never know. Um,
It
so
totally
yeah,
could
just
be.
their offense is super scary, but like I said before, it's just their pitching is a little concerning. So I think the pitching is going to hold them back like it does every year. So I'm going to roll with the Blue Jays at fourth.
Makes sense. So for three, uh, maybe, I don't know, maybe a hot take, maybe not a hot take. They won a lot of games last year. I'm gonna Baltimore finishing third here.
Wow,
Um, maybe I kind of look at Baltimore as like they were like the freshmen last year, or like the rookies. Like they were all, it's a young team.
I
They
gotta
got
disagree
hot.
with you on that one, Bray.
Maybe a little bit sophomore slump coming in. I know, like obviously they're not all second years, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Everyone was high up on the Orioles last year, so maybe they have a little bit sophomore slump. What I will say though is I have them finishing third, but I think that like 1, 2, 3, and maybe even four are going to be separated by like next to nothing. So
yeah,
we've
that's
talked
fair
about this
take.
before with the other divisions. This is going to be like the last series of the season might dictate whether a team finishes first or finishes fourth or finishes third. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they are very young. They did add Corbin Burns. That's a huge asset for them. But I guess I'm just riding on the fact that I like the two other teams just a little bit more. Maybe I'm biased because the Yankees, acquired someone like Juan Soto, but then they have, Garrett Cole on the IL and they've got
Yeah,
all sorts of other issues, right? But the Orioles, it's a young team. They got to the playoffs last year. There were huge, huge expectations for them, even though they were young and they got swept. I'm pretty sure it was a sweep, right? So
yeah. So by the Rangers
again,
because they had a week
I
off,
they're
just like same thing with the Dodgers. and the
Philly or
Braves
the
there. But
Braves. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, like again, it's not me like saying like, oh, the Orioles are gonna have this huge fall off compared to last year. I think they probably don't win as many games as last year.
they
But
won what,
not by like a
101 or something?
100. Well, I can't see triple digits. That would be very, very impressive for that young of a team to do that two
Yeah.
years in a
I
row. I think they'll be close. I could see them definitely above 85, 90. Um, but
Fangraphs
whether
has
they
them Fangraphs has them at 85 wins, which is like, negative 17 or 16 from last year. I think I tweeted about that a couple weeks ago, how they projected to
in
win
what
so many less
plays,
games. And I just can't wrap my head around that logic there. They were young last year. They're supposed to still be rebuilding, um, kind of thing. They're supposed to
what
still be
place do they have
rebuilding.
them in?
What's it?
Does it
Third,
say what the
third,
okay.
but like
Wow. Okay.
not separated by much. So it's like
It's
Yankees
close.
88 wins, Rays 86, Orioles and Blue Jays both with 85, and then the Red Sox with 80.
So
Um,
they have the Yanks winning the division.
right now. But you saw the thing. Well, we'll get into it also later when we
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
the
yeah,
Yankees.
yeah, for sure. And again, I'm not. It's not me saying like the Orioles are going to have this huge fall off, but like to win 101 games last year was incredibly, impressive. And now there's an expectation for them this year, and it's a young team. I'm not saying they can't live up to the potential. They could totally win this division the way they played last year. Um, I could just I could totally see that pressure or that expectation on them, like hurting them a little bit, but not to the point like they're for sure a playoff team. Like if we were to just pick our playoff teams today, they would be a lock for me. It's
Okay.
just a matter of where I have them standing. So I think 85 is maybe a little too low. 17 game drop off would be a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't
I
get
could
it.
see 10. I could totally see 10 though, like
That'd still be 92
91, something like.
wins.
Yeah, no, that's still totally impressive. But I mean, to each their own. But we'll see. I'm gonna have the Orioles at 3 though.
Yeah.
But I'd still, I don't live too far from them, so like by default, like a lot of people around here root for them. So like I kind of like can't be too like nasty about it just because like I'm a Yankees fan, right? And they're all Orioles fans. Um, but they're a good team and they're gonna be a good team for many years because they're so young, right? Jackson is still gonna. A lot of people thought like he might have a shot at making them like being on the opening day roster. He's gonna start in the minors, but like, how old's he? Like he's super young,
He's 20,
like
20 or 21, I think.
21, and he's like the best prospect in baseball
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
So like, and they're already winning 101 games with a super young team. They're not really paying anybody, so they're going to be good for many years to come. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. They're just going to finish third.
Wow. All right. So my third place team, Braeden, I think this might come a little bit shocking to you, but mine's the Yankees, our Yankees. I think they had a good roster, going to the offseason. Now, then DJ goes down, Brazil with
Yeah,
his lat thing, Cole is going to be out for 2 months. So the injuries once again are just concerning to me. I do still think they're a playoff team. They got Judge and Soto. So they finally got some protection behind Judge there, or I should say in front of Judge, because it sounds like Soto's going to bat second. But like right now, like I just think their pitching staff is going to be a lot of prove it guys. Like Marcus Stroman has to prove it. Rodon has to prove it. Um, Clark Schmidt, I think he has good stuff, but he could
yeah,
go for a good jump from last year. And like I said, I think it's just the injuries that's really concerning to me. I think fully healthy, they could be a first or second place in the East team. Right now, I just think that injury is going to hold them back, and it just doesn't seem like they're getting any better either.
yeah,
Judge has his thing going on. You don't know how long that's going to take to fully heal. Um,
yeah.
and like I just think it's a little concerning when you have a guy like Oswaldo Cabrera, who's more of an outfielder in my opinion,
Starting at third on
starting on
opening
third
day,
base on opening day. So yeah,
which it
so I
probably
just
would
think
be. If we're real, like if we're gonna be real for a second, it probably wouldn't be him if DJ was healthy. But that just
no, it
goes to
wouldn't be.
show
No,
you
not at all.
exactly.
DJ
So
was a starting third baseman until a week ago when he went down. So
yeah,
um so yeah, just the injuries I don't love. I feel like kind of similar to last year. Like once get through that first part of the order, 1, 2, 3. After that, it's going to be a big drop off. But we'll see what
mm-hmm.
Stanton does this year, and we'll talk more about him on the Yankees preview tomorrow. But yeah, I just think that the Yankees are going to end up finishing third just because the injuries. I feel like they're going to have a slow start, but once everyone gets healthy, and run again, I think they'll be able to catch up. But
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair. I'm gonna have him finishing second, not too far off the Orioles. For basically every reason you listed, like they did acquire Juan Soto, which is great. You gave up a lot for him, but the injuries are a concern, and I think that's for every Yankees fan that's a concern because it seems like every year there's a huge expectation for this team. It looks like on paper that they truly do have the roster to do it some years. I mean, like go back 3, 4 years. Well, not even 2 years ago, they were in the ALCS. A couple years before that, they were in the ALCS pretty consistently, or at least the DS, for a couple of those years, the past 5, 6 years or so. So it's like it's one of those things where you're gonna, they're not gonna, they can't. I guess I shouldn't say that, but it's very hard for me to believe that they have a worse season than they did last year, right? And last year they won 82 games, right? I expect more wins than that, right? Do you not?
if Judge is fully healthy by May and doesn't go down, yes, I think they'll win more than 82. But you had the fluke injury last year with the foot thing in
It's
Dodger
true.
Stadium. You don't know if something like that happens again. If
It's
Soda
totally
goes
possible.
down. I'm not saying Judge is injury prone, but it just seems just the whole Yankees team as a whole was just bound to get some sort of injury sooner or later. So just got to be skeptical of that.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just optimistic because we're Yankee fans, right? Maybe I just think like, oh, like I'm gonna look at the bright side of things and all these scenarios, right? But I think like, you added Alex Verdugo, you got what's his name? He came over in the Padres trade,
Grisham, Trent
Grissom.
Grisham.
Yeah, like he's a good addition, not like a fantastic addition, but like he'll,
Yeah, some
he'll make his
outfield depth.
presence known.
Yeah.
I feel like he'll have moments this year. So like all in all, like I expect definitely a better season than last year. I think 82 games for the Yankees is like definitely like low. I think for sure expect more than like 90, right? 90 or more, eight plus wins
I'm
if they're
saying 90,
healthy,
bro.
for
I'm
sure.
saying ran the dot. I'm saying like 88, 89, 90.
That and
I just can't see them winning more than 90 with Cole out for this long and DJ out for how long, who
I,
knows how he's
and
going to be out
that,
for.
that that's totally fair. Let me ask you though, do they make the playoffs?
I think they make the playoffs. Yeah.
I
I think it's a little more optimism because I think we briefly touched upon it before. Fangraphs has them finishing first, but I don't think they took into account that DJ's down and Cole's down. But
yeah.
if you go on Baseball Reference, it was all over Twitter yesterday. They have the Yankees finishing dead last with like 70 wins with especially now with Cole
Yeah,
out
like
and
the
that.
lowest they
So
saw was like
yeah,
62, which I think
yeah,
is just bonkers.
yeah,
Um, when you have like you do have talent. Like it's like we're talking about a team like the Athletics where it's kind of like they're in baseball purgatory, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think 90 is fair after last year for sure. They're gonna start the season like already injured. But once you get through April and then like you get towards the summer months, like
yeah,
come back and talk to me, right? If the Yankees if they barely skate through and they have like an record, then it's going to be a little bit more like alarming to me. Like if they
yeah,
can get through for the most part, right? Get Cole back, get healthy by like the summer, say, and they like are looking good, I would even be more
yeah.
confident.
To me,
Um,
to me, they just gotta play 500 ball until Cole gets back. Really, whenever that is, whether it's
yeah, I
end of
mean,
April, end of May, as long as they're above 500 from there, I think they'll
yeah.
be
So is
pretty
he
confident.
projected to come back like May? Is that what they're
I
saying?
think I think they said 1 to 2 months, so like could be end of
That was
May,
what,
could
two
be
weeks
early May,
ago.
could be start of June, something like that. So
Yeah, so we're talking at least. So I mean, if you get even if you go what like 15-15, you're comfortable with that? I think I am.
yeah, I mean, especially to start the season, like anything could happen in the
And
next
you're
five
starting the
months or so.
season against two good teams. You're starting the season. I don't know the who they play like beyond the first like week or so, but I
Yeah,
know
I'm
they
not
got the
sure either.
Astros. 4 games against the Astros and 3 against the Diamondbacks to start, right? So like, let's see how you do against that. They're all road games. If you can get through that around 500, I would feel a little bit better. But if you just have a disastrous first week,
Yeah,
we might be in for a long season. But I'm gonna have the Yankees too. Not too far off the
all right.
Orioles there.
Yeah. All right. So sorry for focusing so much on the Yankees, everyone. We know this
Very good.
AL East preview, but yeah, my two team is going to be the Rays, Braden. I just think good operation over there. Obviously, the thing with Wander Franco, they're kind of putting that behind them now. I think
Yeah.
they're ready to move forward. I think they're always going to be a good team. They have good operation, as we've seen. They play, small ball kind of. They just know how to win games. They know how to use their bullpen. I just can't. I know a lot of people kind of have them not making the playoffs this year, but I just can't see it happening. I just think they have such a good organization now, good analytical team. And they don't have any like of these huge name guys besides like a Rosarena or um, Jose Siri, but I think they'll be I think they'll be in second in the East, especially with all the injuries the Yankees have right now. I think the second place is going to go to the Rays.
Yeah, I think you basically nailed everything on the Rays. I'm gonna have the Rays as one for basically everything you said. And another thing I looked up was I was like, let me look because I know I think about it and I'm like, I feel like the Rays are like they always win a ton of games. So since 2011, I'm just gonna go through the year since 2011, how many wins they have. 2011, 91 wins. 2012, 90 wins. 2013, 92. 14, 77. 15, 80. 16, 68. And then 2017, 80 wins. 2018, 90 wins. 2019, 96 wins. 2020 was the COVID year. They went 40 and 20, which is still
Yeah,
very good.
they went to the World
2021,
Series that year.
100
Yeah,
wins. Yeah. 2021, 100 wins. 2022, 86 wins. And 2023, 99 wins. So, like, over the past decade, the lowest number of wins they've had is 68 in 2016. For the most part, they're like in the 90s.
right.
So, like, to me, I'm like, well, if I have the Yankees winning about 90 and I have the Orioles like right behind them at like 89, but and you can change that. You can say the Yankees win 92 and the Orioles win 90, right? I'm like, historically speaking, like the Rays are going to win at least 90 games. So I'm gonna have them finishing first. And I think the thing about Wander Franco, you nailed, right? They've kind of put that behind them. Um, and they're just one of those teams that you can just kind of trust them, I guess, when it
Yeah,
comes time.
especially
Like
now. I think they
they're
have a
oh
really good operation.
yeah,
Since I had that new GM, I don't forget his name, but ever since he
yeah.
got there, it seems like they're going to be competitive year in and year out. So yeah,
Yeah, and there's
not a
not like a
bad take
ton of
putting the
like they
Rays
have
at
Randy
first.
Rosarena. They've got some like,
Yandy
well-known
Diaz and
players.
Jose Siri,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, but it's not like they don't have like necessarily like their like who's their best pitcher? Like would you say?
well, it used to be Glass now. Um,
Yeah, well that's right. That was the one thing that like worried me when I was making this list. I was like, well, they did have
yeah.
Glass now, but like
So maybe like like Zach Eflin maybe.
yeah, probably
But I
Zach
think
Eflin.
they don't like their starters don't go deep into games. They just like pitch like 4 or 5 innings and go right to the bullpen. Bullpen
Yeah,
shuts it
yeah.
down most of the time. So that's kind of their
Yeah.
like MO
So
kind of thing. They roll with their bullpen. So
yeah, and I don't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure I picked the Rays to get out of the AL last year, like for the playoffs. I think I picked Rays.
I think when we did the
Uh,
bracket, like the postseason bracket, you had them in the World Series. I want to say.
yeah, and maybe that's the bias to me again, is I'm like, like I feel like the Rays are gonna get through, even though I'm a Yankees fan. But yeah, I mean, they're just one of those organizations you can kind of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way I look at it is like, yeah, they lost Glass now, but like, they won 99 games last year. Like they can win over 90 games totally.
Yeah.
And 90
No,
games
I
might be
agree.
enough.
Yeah.
90, 94,
I
somewhere in
think they
there.
win 92,
Good.
93, 94. So, all
Exactly. So
right.
I'm just gonna have them finishing first there. So they're gonna win
Yeah.
the division.
Yeah, let me give my first place team as we got about a minute and a half to go. So, process of elimination, I'm going with the Orioles. I know, like you said, the pressure might get to them. They're kind of underdogs last year. They know winning 101 games. Um, but I can't see them taking a step back. Maybe not winning quite 100 games. Like you see them win like 96, 97, 98, somewhere in that range. Again,
Yeah.
they got the top prospect in baseball on the farm. I think he'll be up sometime soon.
I agree. He's gonna be up this
Sometime in
season.
probably May the latest, I
Yeah.
would say. But I think they're gonna be fun to watch. I think Baltimore is gonna be, Camden Yards is gonna be pretty packed most games now. And I think they were great last year. They were super young and they were fun to watch. So I just can't see them take a step down. They added Corbin Burns, one of the best pitchers in baseball. When pitching, if their starting pitchers was kind of what was holding them back. They go out and get a guy like Corbin Burns, a true
Yeah.
ace. I just can't see them not coming in first again. I just think they're super in depth. They're fun to watch. They're young. They're not really like injury prone, it seems like, and I just have them rolling first. I think they're going to win the East pretty easily this year. So
Wow.
I'm
I
going with
wouldn't
the
say
Orioles.
easily, but I think that's totally fair. They won it last year. I'm pretty sure your standings have them exactly how they finished last year. So everything you're saying, definitely is fair. I'd
Yeah.
say.
Well,
Cool.
actually, I think the Yankees came in fourth. No, the Blue Jays
Oh
came
yeah.
in third.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
All right. Thank you,
Cool.
everyone, for listening. We're running out of time here. Got to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Let Braden and I know if you're coming to the tailgate, and we'll see you next time.